Izwe lethu. Africa
izwe lethu. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We are here with Mwafrika Ntsiye to make a huge announcement of an upcoming event of the party. My name is Tsietsi Mulebatsi, and I'm in the company of a stalwart of this party, the former president of the Azanian National Youth Unity, Mwafrika Ntsiye Muhlwai. Briefly, our purpose is to announce an event. This event will be a national conference of the Pan Africanist Congress, POQO of Occupied Azania. On the 5th, Friday the 5th to Sunday the 7th of December, we'll be holding a conference, and this conference is intended, amongst others, to reconstitute the Pan Africanist Congress of the people of Azania into a formidable revolutionary party. It will be held here where we are at Funda Centre in Soweto, Diepkloof. And the reason we have chosen this venue will be clearly stated by Mwafrika Ntsiye as and when he gets an opportunity to. The most important aspect about this announcement is for us to state the purpose of the conference. As I've already indicated, clearly we need this to be well rooted, we want it to be well grounded, and we want it to be well anchored. To understand that we want to reconstitute the party into a formidable revolutionary force. And in doing that, we say, once we've got the purpose or the aim. We're very clear why that conference. Number two, we want to find out what will be the intended outcomes out of this conference. And we know by now that out of that conference, two critical things have got to come out. One is a program of action that we're going to embark on. By now, those who do not know need to know that the Youth League of the African National Congress in '44 drew up a nation-building program of action. And it was that program that the Youth League stood firmly on when in 1948 it was adopted at the Bloemfontein Conference. And when in '55, the African National Congress, with part of its leadership selling out, adopted the Freedom Charter. When we left as the PAC out of the ANC, we took the nation building program of action with, and part of its essence is covered in the manifesto of 1959 at the inaugural conference at the Orlando Communal Hall. So we want to come up with a program to meet the times we live in, and we need to come out with a leadership that we're going to marry to that program. It is important for us to understand that you don't just elect leadership and you give them a blank check. You first come up with a program, a revolutionary program that will require a revolutionary leadership. We know that for almost more than 30 years, the party has gone through the mill with regard to various leaderships coming up with our own programs. This time, we want to draw a very clear line with the reactionaries and general, the political stratosphere in occupied Azania, so that the Pan Africanist Congress, POQO of Occupied Azania, comes out distinctly as the sole revolutionary party which becomes the harbinger of the African people. The African people need a political home, and we've got to create it for them. At this stage, I'll give over to Mafrikanzie to speak more about the rationale behind part of the ritualistic opening that is going to take place on the 5th Friday. Thank you, Mafrika. Please address the nation.
Thank you very much, Mafrika.
Africa.
Like you have clearly indicated, this will be a milestone conference. Being a milestone conference, it was supposed, firstly, we planned it to be at Orlando Communal Hall, where the PAC was formed. But in the process, we decided to bring it here at Funda Community Centre, because we have dedicated that to the sacrifices of our revolutionary leaders. Here we took Uncle Zeph. The importance of Funda Centre is that Zephaniah Mtupeng addressed two most important meetings or rallies in this Funda, which were giving us the direction. Firstly, it was during the so-called black on black violence or the internecine violence among the African people. Mutupeng unearthed the philosophy of peace amongst the Africans and war against the enemy, and he instructed the youth to go around to mobilize the people and to say to the people, let them turn their guns to the real enemy. We should not be killing, they should not be killing each other. He taught us that we must cut the hand of the puppeteer and there will not be any puppet. Also, another important factor was when he was invited by Feljun, it is here also where he also unearthed that letter of invitation which he rejected negotiations which today we see some of those that are calling themselves PAC who have run into the GNU today. So now we are taking inspiration from Uncle Zef. Also, we have chosen this day, 5th to the 7th, because it is also 101 years of Sobukwe, and it is the centenary of Frantz Fanon, Malcolm X, and Patrice Lumumba. These giants are very important. That's where we are going to anchor the conference also on their philosophies as we forge ahead for what we call the third Chimurenga, or the third revolution, which means that the first revolution was when our heroes, our kings, our heroines fought when the settlers set their feet here, when they fought against the war of resistance, national resistance against the occupation of our country. That was the first Chimurenga. That Boqetshwayo, Boskukuni, and many other African kings waged. Then the second one was the second one after 1960, when POQO engaged in armed struggle, when they opened armed struggle in 1960 upwards, until that struggle was betrayed when the people abandoned armed struggle in 1994. So we were open to a year of 30 years of betrayal. So we are saying that now we will be engaged in the third Chimurenga. That would come up, or that will be led by the revolutionary PAC POQO of Azania. So what we are going to do is that we will be, firstly, it will be, we'll have first day, it will be dedicated to our leader, Mangaliso Sobukwe, our supreme leader, as 101. So we'll have a Sobukwe memorial lecture. We'll also have the lectures around the other three giants, Malcolm X, Fanon, and Patrice Lumumba. The importance of these leaders. These are the very important leaders which came out, a special generation that came out around the 1920s. Very special in Africa, who clearly understood the program of the enemy, the program of the imperialist. And in their time, it was when the enemy unearthed, for instance, for the African Revolution, the enemy unearthed. The CIA came up with Project Dragon and Wizard, which meant assassinating revolutionary leaders and poisoning revolutionary leaders. So if we zoom into these leaders, for Patrice Lumumba, internally, while the CIA, the M16 and all NATO employed Dragon, Project Dragon and Project Wizard, internally the Belgian against Patrice Lumumba employed Operation Parachute, which was a program meant specially to assassinate Patrice Lumumba. Here in Azania, to deal with Sobukwe, they came up with a Sneyman Commission, in order to deal with the PAC and its revolutionary leaders. So there is similarities between all these leaders. We have seen also that with Frantz Fanon also. Frantz Fanon was poisoned, and ultimately when he went to America for medical assistance, he was finished there. The same with Malcolm X after coming from Africa. When he adopted Pan-Africanism and when he formed the Afro-American Organization of African Unity in America, now saying linking the diaspora with the continent, he was assassinated. He had to be assassinated because at that time Pan-Africanism was at its peak, where they were saying during the Cold War, both during the Cold War, where these very leaders were saying that Pan-Africanism was the third force, the third social force which represented the aspirations of the African people. So all the imperialists, both social imperialist Soviet Union and the Western imperialism led by America and NATO, were facing these. So they had to make sure that Pan-Africanism dies, together with its revolutionary Pan-Africanist leaders, including Patrice Lumumba and all. So this conference, it is anchored to reverse that. We are saying that now the third revolution, or the African revolution, will spring from Azania throughout the whole continent. So the conference want to do that. We also want to come up also in the Congress, clearly adopt Sobukweism or Sobukwe thought, will come out having synthesized what is Sobukwe thought. So that's also part of the intention, and also coming with that revolutionary leadership, which is based on Sobukwe's model of leadership, what it meant by being a leader. So that is...
And maybe just to add that from what Africa has just said, with regard to Sobukwe, we are going to be Sobukwean in terms of our approach and orientation, and Sobukweism is going to be the basis. Now the theme of the conference will be, let us be like Sobukwe, unite, consolidate, defend, and advance Sobukwe's revolutionary legacy. The sub-theme is going to be defiance, revolution, and power. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's it. The rest you will see what we have planned for the reopening. You'll see that we are also going to be planting 101 trees as going back to our roots, anchoring back into the land. As we plant the tree, following what Sobukwe said, when he named the PAC as the tree, you see where we are. This is a tree, it's a symbol of the tree, which Sobukwe said, here is a tree rooted in African soil, nourished from the waters, from the rivers of Africa. Come and be with us, the leaves of the same branch and the branch of the same tree. So it is going to be a rebirth, but now we are going to be combining, reviving also the cultural weapon. We'll be having artists, because we say the artists are the conscience of the nation. So we'll be working with our artists. We are going to also call our ancestors to war. So there will be rituals that will be performed on that day. But for now, we leave it there.
izwe lethu
iAfrika.
Africa izwe lethu.